Ladies and gentlemen, something very interesting is happening in Ol Kalou.
Sasa na inaendelea kuja, ndio hiyo inaendelea kuja, ndio hiyo. Kuna wazee wanatoa hata 500, 200 wa mama na wanasema hataki change. Wasibu wale wakituma kama pesa, ndio hiyo namba 011064698 Joseph Kefue. Na kuna mkora moja tumeona hapo ameingia online akaanza kusema watu watumie yeye kwa till number. Sio till number, ni send money. Na wewe mkora, kama kuna yenye ulikuwa umeokota pia unaweza tutumia.
And it's definitely going to shape the politics of Mount Kenya moving forward. I want to be very honest with you people. I've been paying very close attention to the happenings in Ol Kalou for two main reasons. Number one, I'm really interested in understanding William Ruto's game plan for Mount Kenya ahead of 2027 general election.
Ngojeni, iko by election inakuja Ol Kalou, Nyandarua. Tutakutana na huyo mwanaume hapo Nyandarua. I am telling you. Mimi nangojea tukutane na huyo mwanaume. Na hiyo kifua yake anajipiga.
Because Mount Kenya will decide the fate of William Ruto, whether it's going to be one term or whether it's going to be two term. If Mount Kenya were to vote as a bloc against the president, he will not have any chance. But if he will be able to get a certain percentage, then I can assure you William Ruto will be elected easily as the next president of the Republic of Kenya. So I've been trying to follow to understand his game plan. Because remember, he did something during the Mbeere North by-election. He ensured that the UDA candidate won. Of course, you can understand that was Mount Kenya East. But again, during that by-election, he employed that tactic. Actually, there are two. William Ruto tested the power of money. As we speak, in Ol Kalou, yesterday alone, 60 women groups were given 24 million Kenyan shillings. That's huge. They're actually testing the power of money because it worked in Mbeere North. It can actually also work in Ol Kalou. And again, you remember, William Ruto actually bought Mount Kenya using money in the last election. The other thing he is testing, which I'm keenly following, is how to rig. Because during the Mbeere North, it is alleged that the DP candidate actually won, but he was rigged out. Will the same apply? So I'm keen because I'm trying to follow William Ruto's game plan. Number two, why I'm keen is to understand Rigathi Gachagua, whether he has real support of the people in Mount Kenya or whether Rigathi Gachagua is just a paper tiger. Because remember, Rigathi Gachagua was the guy credited for dismantling Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta during the last election. Will he be able now to use this Ol Kalou to defeat William Ruto and start serving his revenge? So because of those two reasons, I've been keenly following the ongoings in Ol Kalou. But something happened in Ol Kalou which is going to change how that politics is going to move forward. But something happened in Ol Kalou. The UDA candidate and supporters, I think the leaders responsible for that campaign, called the DCP guy Chokora. And because of that, the DCP are taking advantage of that. And the residents have bought it. They're literally raising funds for him to buy their Chokora a suit.
Inachangwa na watu ya Ol Kalou. Wananunulia. Very good. Hizi pesa zinachangwa na watu vile jinaitwa Mugumo Rurie. Na wanataka kuchangia, walisema mbunge hawa ameitwa Chokora. Kama sasa hataitwa Chokora, tunaangalia pesa yenyewe wamechanga tayari. Pesa wamechanga hapa ni pesa mingi sana. Very good. Very good. Walisema kila mtu shilingi mambo. Na no one time. Mambo ni one time. Mambo ni one time. Very good.
In this video, I want us to understand how Rigathi Gachagua and his team have been able now to change that Chokora narrative into their advantage. Because I have a contact there, and he was telling me that, you know, UDA had managed to change the narrative. As a matter of fact, he was telling me that the UDA had succeeded in making sure that this campaign was not about Rigathi and Ruto. It was about the two candidates. And the residents had actually started buying that. But now, with that blunder, things are now changing. Before I give the details, in case you're watching this channel for the first time, take a second or two, click the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support. Ladies and gentlemen, through that blunder of calling the DCP candidate Chokora, DCP has been able to do the following. Number one, they have now created a class war in Ol Kalou. The other guy is now branded Mr. Moneybags. This other guy is now branded ordinary person who is poor. And for those who follow the policies of the Republic of Kenya, Mount Kenya voted for William Ruto because William Ruto told them one thing, that Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga and Gideon Moi were dynasties. And them, they were hustlers. That all their problems began and ends with removing Uhuru and stopping Raila Odinga and putting one of the hustlers. And Rigathi was part of that team. And I think his team still understands that emotionally, the people of the mountain are politically weak when it comes to emotions. They're emotionally weak, politically speaking, the people of the mountain. By creating this class war, Rigathi is now able to emotionally appeal to his supporters. And that's why you are seeing a poor person giving 10 shillings in the name of contributions, and is given a cake, or is it mandazi, I don't know, or something like that, and a soda. So he has been able to create that class war, and I think they'll be able to sustain it. Number two, through that move, they've now created, or they've made their candidate to appear as the underdog. The advantage of being an underdog is that Kenyans have a tendency of trying to support those who appear to be weak. And that's why people are like, okay, this is our guy ni Chokora. Rigathi and the team have made him now to appear as if he's the weaker candidate. So they're now pushing, and they're really pushing. In fact, if elections were held today, the DCP candidate will easily win unless a mistake happens somewhere. So they've been able now to create that underdog strategy. And importantly, through these contributions, Rigathi and his team have now been able to pit their candidate as people-owned and the other candidate as state-owned. The thing is, and this is the truth, they're now pushing the agenda that the DCP candidate is being supported by locals and local leaders, while the other candidate is being sponsored by the state and is being campaigned for by people who are not locals. And I'm told that, was it yesterday or yesterday but one, there were vicious wars within UDA over some money, which I think some bloggers are not getting. You know, they come with the team from Nairobi to do these things. The campaigners are coming from Nairobi, while DCP is now focusing on the ordinary person there. They go to a rally, heavily attended. They read the M-Pesa number. People send a 10 bob, 20 bob. They give that contribution bucket. People contribute. Yeah, so they've now been able to project their candidate as people owned. And number 4, and this is something which I think Rigathi is doing strategically. He has realized that there is no way they can match William Ruto and the government when it comes to money. And they also understand that money has power. Money can dictate things. So how are they now turning this against the money? They come up with a narrative that, you know, ile pesa ni serikali. Ikikuja, you eat it. But again, why are they even referring to a guy who has been with us here as Chokora? So in short, people are now buying the idea that their candidate is weak politically and is also weak when it comes to money. So what do? They stand with him. Yeah? So that when the right time comes, they'll be able to protect his votes against the money. So that even if tomorrow UD were to come and give the money, let's say they are giving 500 or 200, if it's 200, they'll take 150, keep for themselves, 50 bob, contribute to the other candidate. So that they'll be able to counter that money narrative. And importantly, I'm looking at it as part of the vote protection strategy. You see, during the Mbere North, the allegations were that people were actually bribed at the polling station. But now we have a people who are now used. They are saying, okay, nyinyi mmekuja na pesa as we don't have money. But our intention, make sure this guy wins. So I don't know what you think, but let us follow the proceedings there. Elections is just around the corner. Until that time, this is Lee Makwiny. Bye-bye.